Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Battlefield 2042. Now that I've played the game for the last 5 or 6 days, I feel like I can safely give a review of this game now that it's fully released. Overall, I really enjoy the game, but it's got a lot of problems. Playing Battlefield 2042 is a lot like eating ass. It's fun, but it's pretty stinky. I'm going to go ahead and start with things I like about the game. I really like the ability to change attachments in-game. You just hold down T and then you can immediately just start putting on new sights and changing things around on the fly. It's a really nice system. I think that's great. It keeps things fast-paced. I also do like a lot of the new gadgets and a lot of the new things that you're able to do. So the wingsuit for me personally, I think is just amazing, making some big dick plays. I fucking fly around like Batman and get behind the enemy to get like a knife takedown. I also just absolutely love the portal system. I think it is a great idea. It's not fully realized yet, but I think like in a month it'll be pretty refined. Basically, you can go to this portal system and you can choose these servers where you can play like some classic Battlefield experiences. For me, Bad Company 2 is my favorite Battlefield game, and I can go back and play that game. Granted, it's a little different than it was originally, but it's still a lot of fun to revisit that style, and I just think it's a really great idea, and I'm excited to see where that ends up. I think the custom games people will come up with for the portal system are going to be really enjoyable and probably give the game an even longer lifespan. So I think that's just a really exciting idea. I also really appreciate that they didn't bother ham-fisting a campaign into this game. Battlefield stories have been terrible since Bad Company 2, so I'm glad they didn't even bother here. They just said, fuck the campaign, let's focus on what people actually play Battlefield for, which is the multiplayer experience. And I don't know why people were pretending to be upset by the lack of story mode here. I doubt they could name a single character in any Battlefield campaigns, because they're all terribly, forgettably generic. So I think it was a good call not to do that with this one. Now, just overall, if you've ever enjoyed a Battlefield game, you will probably like this one. It is the exact same Battlefield formula you're used to, with only a few minor changes overall. There's nothing they've done here where they wiped their ass with Battlefield and completely changed its identity or anything like that. It is pretty much still the same Battlefield experience. For some people, that's going to be great. For some, it's going to be bad. For me, I'm right in the middle where I enjoy it, but recognize a lot of the problems it has, which we're going to get into now. Let's start with the biggest one so far. The servers almost never work. Across the last 5 or 6 days, I have literally only been able to join official servers for maybe like 6 hours total of my playtime. The rest is spent in the portal system where I'm able to join other people's games. Their servers have not been working. I was only able to play Breakthrough for the first time yesterday. And I like Breakthrough a lot, I really enjoy that mode, but I was unable to play it until yesterday because I would just keep getting kicked out because the servers just couldn't handle it. And keep in mind, this is all like that Ultimate Edition early access, so it's not even like the entire fucking marching band coming into the game on official release, which is today as of making the Moist Meter. I can only imagine those servers are gonna fucking die. They're going to explode. But setting aside the big server problems, there's also just the general problem with the gunplay. The gunplay, and this is a weird thing to say in an FPS, the gunplay just doesn't work sometimes. And it's a bug they've acknowledged from what I've read. When you're using a fully automatic weapon, there's random bullet spread everywhere. So you'll be looking at a guy, you'll both be having a little staring contest, and you're trying to pop him in his little braces, but for some reason, the bullets are just going wild and wacky as if they're just made out, like you're just shooting wet noodles. Like they're just being carried by the wind everywhere. And it has nothing to do with tap firing versus full auto, because if you tap fire, you're still getting random bullet spread. With DMRs, you're still getting random bullets firing in all kinds of goofy directions. It's apparently a bug right now, but it's super frustrating that the gunplay isn't tight on release. I feel like that's something that they would have noticed immediately when playtesting this game. Like, hey, boys, our guns in the game, yeah, they don't work right now. Let's go ahead and tune that up. But I guess that got overlooked somewhere along the pipeline. That's why right now I think the top tier weapon is the PP. You get your little PP out, it's an SMG, and it's the only one that's really not affected by extreme bullet spread, which is why most people are cruising around with that gun. Everything else just has an absurd amount of random bloom and bullet spread. It's a fucking headache. And speaking of headaches, another really frustrating bug in the game right now is the revive bug, where you cannot be revived if you go down near an object. So let's say you're popping dick off, you just wiped the whole squad, but all of a sudden your butthole gets popped by a sniper, and you go down right next to a door. Your team can't revive you because you're too close to that door. And that goes for anything. Like, let's say you go down near a piece of debris, like a tank just got blown up and its carcass is next to you and you happen to go down. You can't be revived because you're too close to that. And it's not something that only happens occasionally. This is every single time. This is another bug I don't understand how it ever made it to the live game. Because every time you go down near something, your team can't revive you. I can't count the number of times I've been with my whole squad and I get sniped and then they just fucking stare at me, and then they come over and try and revive me, but they just end up like teabagging me because they're trying to find the prompt to revive me, but it doesn't exist because it's glitched. I'm too close to, a fucking piece of bubble gum that's on the battlefield. Like, you have to be completely isolated from everything around you in order to be revived. If there is even like a shell casing near you, you will not be able to be revived by your team. It's super frustrating, and it makes me mad at my teammates, even though I know it's not their fault, because I'm just down in front of them, they're just staring at me like they got the defibrillator out, and they're just looking at each other like, well, nothing we can do here, can't you see? He went down right next to some old guy's shoe that was left on the battlefield. Hey, out of our hands now. I just can't imagine how this bug actually slipped into the full game here, because it happens every single time you go down near anything. It's so silly. Unfortunately, there is a lot of other bugs in the game as well. There was even one so bad that it would give you invincibility pretty much, where one of the characters, I think it was Dozer's his name, he had this shield where you could basically just be immortal. It would have you come into the game as the fucking juggernaut. You were able to put that shield on and make yourself impossible to get killed. And when they re-enabled that gadget, it was still broken where you could just get shot point blank by a tank shell and not die. So, like, there's a lot of things in here, a lot of these bugs that I don't understand how they ever made it. Because they're, like, completely obvious, glaring issues that are somehow still present in the game. There's also a huge issue with rubber banding in games. A lot of the servers are laggy, even when you do go to the official ones. There's a lot of desync problems. Really, there is a lot of jank to this game. Like I said, I still am enjoying it overall, but I have to point out these problems. And these are things that people are absolutely going to notice and feel. And I think in particular, the thing that's going to make people the angriest is that random bloom and bullet spread. I think people are going to be really upset at how inconsistent the gunplay feels during an intense firefight. I really like the pacing of the game, especially in Breakthrough. So you're going to get in these close quarters fights, or even maybe even medium long range fights, and you're just going to lose due to no fault of your own, just because bullets decided to, go to a different fucking dimension on their journey to their target. So that's definitely the biggest one that I'd like to point out. I also don't like the UI in this game very much. It's very confusing. It's also really counterintuitive. I just don't like the UI like at all in this game. And I also don't really see the point of these class specialists. Like, there's no reason for them. Pretty much every character in this game can do exactly the same thing. Everyone's a medic, everyone's an engineer, everyone can do all of the same things. The only difference between these classes, these specialists, is like that one ability, like the wingsuit I mentioned, which is cool, I do enjoy that. But at that point, why not just make it one soldier you play as and you can just choose the wingsuit as well as the other shit? Because literally, there's only one difference that separates these classes from each other. Everything else, they can all do the same shit. It's not like in other Battlefield games where, I've brought up Bad Company 2 a lot already. Bad Company 2, you'll have the Recon class who's focused on sniping as well as spotting. You'll have the Medic class who's focused on healing and reviving, and those are what they specialize in. In this game, any class can do those things. Every class is a jack of all trades. There's nothing that they specialize in that is impactful. They just have one different ability. So really, what was the point of even having that system in the first place? And now let's talk about the maps. The maps I don't think are awful, but they're not good either. The maps are super, super open, especially compared to older Battlefield maps. Everything just feels like it's a giant box with like a few hills, and there's only a couple ways of approaching a firefight. Like, almost all of the fights you're going to have are just like out in the open. There's not a whole lot of like intricacies to the map. You're never going to really have a lot of, really memorable firefight moments. It's just going to be like, hey, I found this hill and I shot that guy on that hill, or we were both on this open road and we shot each other and I happened to win because my blue RNG was better. Like, I just don't think the maps complement a really fun style of gameplay, and I just think there's a huge problem with the size of the maps. The maps are just way too big. Like, they added more players here, it's 64v64, but the maps are just too fucking big. Running from point A to point B will genuinely take like 6 real-world minutes at full sprint if you can't spawn in a vehicle. It takes so long, so get ready to run around a lot, because that's going to be the bulk of your gameplay in a round. But once you do get there, it won't be hard to find people, which is nice. It's just, goddamn, it takes a while to get there. So I don't think the maps are the worst in the Battlefield series, but they're definitely not that great either. So let's go ahead and plug Battlefield 2042 into the moist meter. I'm giving it a 65% in its current state. I really do think in like 3 or 6 months from now, this game's going to be extremely good. It's just right now, it's so rough. It feels like they rushed to get this game out as quickly as possible with some glaring issues that needed to be addressed. Because it's going to put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth here. There's no doubt in my mind. But like I said, I have been enjoying the game even in spite of all these problems. And I think the portal system has a lot of potential to be an extremely fun tool. And I'm excited to see where that goes. But yeah, there's a lot of bugs and problems that need to be fixed in the game. And hopefully we'll get to that pretty soon.
Hey guys, Jackson here. Well, let's talk about Helix mattresses. I'm sure you've all heard the saying that a mattress is the most important thing you'll ever buy. And think about it. You sleep almost half your life, so why wouldn't you want to invest in something that makes you comfortable for almost 50% of your existence? That's where Helix mattresses come in with their amazingly comfortable, specifically designed mattresses. You can go to their website, take their Helix sleep quiz, and be told which mattress is the best fit for you. It takes your answers and matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress. Take this for example. I'm a side sleeper who prefers a medium mattress, and they matched me with the midnight mattress, and boy oh boy, was it a comfortable thing to lay on. I had never slept so well, and woken up with so few back pain, until Helix arrived at my door. Speaking of delivery, Helix delivers your mattress right to your doorstep for free. It comes rolled up in a box and it's super easy to set up for yourself. If it makes you nervous to buy a mattress you've never tried before, Helix comes with a 100-night sleep trial, so you can get more than 3 months of practice in to make sure that you love it. If you don't, they'll pick it up for you and you'll get a full refund. Helix is great and I think you'll agree. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix. You can click on the link below or go to helixsleep.com/moist and get up to $200 off your Helix mattress.